Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally, and today is going to be a lot of fun. Today's collaboration is a Longaberger Basket Rescue, and it is hosted by Dawn, Shabby Meets Bling, and Jackie of Jackie Burns Creations. Make sure you check my description box for their channels as well as a playlist of. We are challenged to take a Longaberger basket and somehow refresh it, paint it, upcycle it, create something new from it. And I have this absolutely beautiful little specimen. Came with the basket liner and also a lid, which I think is somewhat unusual. It is marked clearly that it is a Longaberger. Once upon a time, very valuable. Now I paid $5 for this. Asked my husband to take a little round hole cutter and took the knob off of the top of the wooden lid, marked a hole where I wanted that to go, and he was kind enough to go ahead and cut that for me. The minute I saw this, I knew what I wanted to create from it, and I have had it in my stash for a good 4 or 5 months, if not longer, waiting to do this. We do this Longaberger challenge every 3 or 4 months or so, something like that. So the next thing I want to do, one of the reasons I think that Longaberger baskets have kind of lost their popularity is because they have a tendency toward orange. And a lot of people don't really care for that color, but there are a number of ways that you can change that. So if you happen to have some and you'd like to do something different, you could stick it in bleach and water and let it bleach out. You could also dark wax it or paint it or any number of things. I'm going to take this silver sage color and I'm going to go ahead around the entire basket on the exterior only, and I'm going to paint all of that which is red in this silver sage, including the top rim of the basket. And that is much better already. Then I am going to take my little sander and just go ahead and sand out a little bit of where the hole was cut, as well as the top, getting a little bit of the shine off of that wood. And then once I get that cleaned up, I'm going to take some dark antique wax and I'm going to go ahead over this a couple of times until I get this orange toned down a little bit and give this more of a brown tone for the entire outside of the basket, and do the same thing, toning down once again the orange tones and giving this a little bit more of a vintage look as well as a little bit of protection. Then once I have that, the color tone that I want it to be all the way around, and I have that wiped back with a rag, I'm going to go on and I'm going to cut a piece of birch tree bark that I had. We have a wood stove and a fireplace, and we do heat with wood on occasion. And so I had this nice piece of birch bark that had fallen off of one of those logs, and so that was perfect for what I needed. And I also had the most adorable little door here that was on a cheap little birdhouse, and it had fallen off when the thing disintegrated, and I kept the door because I thought it was adorable and I'd keep everything, and I knew that it was going to come in handy. So I took some of the quick and thick glue and I clamped that on. And then I had taken this sweet sign off of a Dollar Tree sign years ago and tossed it into my stuff. And I knew what I wanted to do with the basket, but I saw this and I thought, how adorable. I have to marry these two together. That's why I came out with the green. So I went over the whole sign, leaving just the white letters minus the S. And then after I get the whole thing painted in the green, I take out a white paint marker and go over that S with a T so this can say tweet. And then I also go around the exterior of that sign to go ahead and give that a little bit more of the dark antiquing wax and wipe that back. And then I decide to put a little bit more over the whole thing and then make that look a little bit more vintage to match with some of the other items that I'm going to be using today in this sweet little vignette. Now, this is where I come up with that idea to use bark. It took me a little bit because this was quite thick and heavy, but I was able to break it. And I loved it for the reason that it was already a half circle, a semicircle shape. I knew that I would be able to use it over top of the basket and have myself a little bit of a roof. So I made sure that it would fit in between the two handle sections of that basket and then glued that on again with that quick and thick wood glue and clamped that, and then remembered that I had to go ahead and add the top piece first. So I did have to go back and add the cover and put that back on, and then clamped the whole thing with some wood clamps, giving that a lot of time to dry, I believe, at least overnight. So then I had at the same time cut a little bit more of the bark and then added that. I must have lost the footage. And then took some moss and covered where those two pieces meet, as well as put some into the little hole. And then once I had that, I glued the handle of the basket in place so that the bird would have a place to rest on this sweet little birdhouse. Now I am making a bit of a vignette with this Longaberger basket, and so I also have another birdhouse in my stash. This came from the good table at the dump. Obviously a child had gotten hold of this for a craft project and someone left it behind at the dump, and I decided that I was going to rescue it. So I went ahead and I painted the entire body with the same color green. And then I took it after it was good and dry out to my garage and just took my orbital sander over the roof primarily to get some of that color off, and then a little bit over the bottom of the birdhouse as well. And that kind of gave me that rustic look that I like, and cleaned up some of that excess paint, and that really just needed a bit of moss, bird feathers, and such in the hole to make it look like it had been lived in. Then I am taking this beautiful Longaberger basket, tray-like basket with handles that my daughter got last week on the good table at the dump. Yes, this one would be $25, $35 near me. I know they range all over the place, but somebody just simply left it at the good table at the dump, and she knew that I would love it. So I took that with the little sign and the two cute little bird houses and added a little metal bird circle sign that I got on Temu and put that all together for this sweet little vignette. I would love to know what you think about my use of these Longaberger baskets, one that I pretty much left exactly as it was and just added these items into it, and I wired them in so that of course I can take these off and reuse that at any point or make that over in another video if I want to without having any damage to it. And the other, which I have of course completely transformed and glued and painted and it will now always be a birdhouse. Also, don't forget to check out the playlist of the other creators and see what they did with their Longaberger baskets. Thank you so much for stopping by. I will see you in the next one. Take care.